Hey BookTube, this is Friday Reads. I'm Jen and I talk about audiobooks, and I have some great stuff to tell you about from last week. I love it when that's the case, you know? Who wouldn't rather read 5-star books than not? So I'll start off with Lost and Found Sisters by Jill Shalvis. This on audio was narrated by Karen White, and Karen White is the quintessential perfect person to narrate virtually everything that Jill Shalvis has ever written. She's not the only person to have done that, but she just gets it. She gets Jill Shalvis. I know she narrates other authors' works, but she's just amazing when it comes to anything that Jill Shalvis has written, because Jill Shalvis has a humor that she interjects into her stories that Karen White can just interpret so well. So she was her usual wonderful self, and I loved the narration, and I think that it only added to the story and really brought it to life in a very authentic way. This I ended up giving 4 stars to. This is all about Quinn, who loses her sister Beth in a car accident. And so we pick up the story where it's been 2 years since that happened. And she's standing in line to get coffee one day, and a lawyer pulls her aside and he says, "I'm an attorney for the estate of thus and such a person, and you have inherited some stuff. I really need to have a conversation with you." So she has this conversation, and then she ends up going to the town where this person lived, called Wildstone. It's in Northern California, and things go from there. Her life completely changes because of what she's inherited. And because that's all the synopsis will tell you, that's all I'm going to tell you. So I loved it. I loved the romance, which happened fairly early on. And so you didn't have to wait a long time for it to kind of really develop. But this had a slower feel to it than her other books, than Jill Shalvis's other books. This isn't one of those quick little series reads. This is more like a Susan Mallory or a Kristen Hagen's kind of a book. It had a little more depth, moved a little more slowly, and I was totally fine with that. So I loved it. I really loved it. Can definitely recommend that one pretty highly. And like I said, 4 stars. I picked up a post-apocalyptic book called After the Ending by Lindsey Fairleigh and Lindsey Pogue, narrated by Natalie Duke. And while I liked Natalie Duke fairly well, a fair amount, I didn't care for the book. And it just went off a direction that I just didn't care for. It was about a virus that kills a bunch of people and the survivors and how they survive. And it just got a little weird. You know, I listened to probably about 55% of it, and then I just gave up. I thought, I'm not interested in where this is going. So yeah, it wasn't for me. So because I didn't finish it, I didn't rate it. I can't say that it was terrible. I can't say I hated it, because neither of those things are true. I just lost interest. And I also kind of knew the direction it was going to go, and knew that no, it wasn't for me. Then I got an email, like a message on Goodreads from an author named A.L. Goulden. And she said, "You entered a giveaway and you didn't win, but I have an extra copy of my book if you want to listen to it." And I said, sure. So I've had a lot of these lately, you know, a lot of self-published authors who come to me, or I win a copy on Goodreads somehow, and they say, "Oh, you know, listen to my book and review it." And I'm like, okay, well, most of them, honestly, probably the last 3 have been DNFs, because they've just been so awful. The story can't hold me with that horrible narration. It's like, I don't know where these authors get these narrators. I guess they're trying to do it as inexpensively as possible, and I can't argue with that. You know, I'm a total cheapskate, but boy, they do themselves no favors. So when I got this book, I thought, okay, you know, I didn't have really high expectations for it. But it's a book about surfing and the beach, and it held a lot of appeal for me just for that reason alone, because, you know, who doesn't want to escape to the beach? Well, it's narrated by a guy named Matt Haynes. Right there, I listened to a sample and I thought, this is narrated by a guy and he knows what he's doing. So I got the book on Audible and I listened, and I was so impressed. I gotta tell you, I thought, if this is the one thing you have to go through 3 bad things to get to, it's probably worth it. So I was just amazed. It was really good. I got such an education about surfing, and Goulden is really able to put you right in the midst of the action, because some of this happens in Bali, some in Fiji, some in San Diego, some in Northern California, or no, Oregon, I think is where it is. And it follows Dean, who is a big time surfer, and Azure, who is a travel writer. And she's trying to make her way. He's trying to deal with his success and whether he can still hold his own at, I think he's 32. So kind of follows them all over the globe, and it was such a great slow burn romance, and I loved that. And she has kind of a Kristen Higgins feel where she closes the door, you know, on the bedroom, so not a whole lot of really steamy scenes, which I kind of appreciated. I always appreciate that. Matt Haynes interpreted the story really, really well. He used some different accents. The surfer guy was the funniest, I thought. And some other accents of people who were from various parts of the world. I just thought it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved the setting. I loved the imagery. I loved the characters. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars, and I think as romances go, it's better than what I would have expected. You know, I rate a lot of these things 3 stars because I think, well, you know, it was good. It was fun entertainment, but it didn't blow me out of the water. It wasn't anything really special. This was a solid 4-star book. So yeah. Then I picked up, on the advice of my good friend Lisa at Books and Smiles. We talk all the time, probably about every day. And she lives in Florida, by the way. So please pray for the people in Florida with this Hurricane Irma that's coming. It's going to decimate Florida. It's just going to be a horrible monster that plows its way through, and they're in danger. So if you could just, you know, pray for them. Anyway, so Lisa said, hey, I got this book, and I'm thinking I'm going to read it. It's called How to Love by Katie Cotugno. And so I picked it up on Audible. It's narrated by Merritt Hicks, and oh my goodness, this book does not have raving reviews. It's YA contemporary. It came out a couple of years ago. Well, for one thing, Merritt Hicks. Merritt Hicks was the perfect voice for this book. Sometimes, you know, the narrator and the main character just mesh perfectly. That narrator is able to be the voice of the main character just so well, and that was what happened here. Merritt Hicks just got it all right. She really did. She probably was the thing that pushed me into 5-star territory, because I gave this book 5 stars. This is all about Rena and Sawyer. This is told in 2 perspectives. First, then, so you get kind of what was happening then, and then now, where you get what's happening at the present time. And so it's told from Rena's perspective. It's short for Serena. They live in Florida. She's been in love with Sawyer since they were in grade school. And their parents are good friends, and Rena gets pregnant and has a baby with Sawyer. Well, Sawyer is completely oblivious. He doesn't know that this has happened. And when you meet Rena and Sawyer at the very beginning of the book, she is in like a convenience store, and she's got to get some things, and he's buying a Slurpee. And she then goes home and says, "He's back? Why didn't anybody tell me?" Okay, that happens in the very first few pages of the book, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything for you, but it's how they navigate this situation and what happened in the past and what bearing that has on what's happening right now. There are some amazing side characters in this book, not the least of which is Soledad, who is Rena's stepmother, whom she has such a great relationship with and is so... they're just so loving towards each other. It was very, very pleasant to read. And Merritt Hicks did this accent of this woman who came from Cuba perfectly, perfectly. Rena also has a best friend named Shelby, who is really supportive, really one of those people that will not pull any punches and tell you the truth as your friend. Sawyer was very gray as a character, morally speaking. I mean, at first you hate him, then you like him, then you hate him, and then you think, well, and the whole story went that way. Actually, the whole story went that way with Rena too, even though the book was being told from her perspective, and normally, you know, you would assume that you'd be on her side. But there were times when I thought, Rena, honey, what are you thinking? So the fact that Katie Cotugno was able to pull that off, you know, to be able to maintain that tension. I loved that. I love that. Perfect ending. So well done. And, you know, I always rate books on my emotional reaction to them. And I cannot rave enough about this one. It was, you know, as much as I hated that book I read last week, I loved this one that much. So good. So, so good. I was so glad we read that. So glad that Lisa suggested it. And then, you know, I didn't know what to pick up. I thought whatever it is that I pick up, I'm not going to like nearly as much as that. So great. Now what I do? What do I do? That's classic book hangover, where you just are mystified as to what to pick up next. So in the interest of just kind of staying in the romance thing, I kind of thought maybe I'd pick up something post-apocalyptic, but then I thought, no, I'm not in the mood for that. So I picked up It Had to Be Love, which is book 2 in the It Had to Be series by Tamra Bauman. I found this through Kindle Unlimited, and I had already listened to the first book in that series a while ago, like maybe last summer, I want to say, or maybe even the summer before that, but it's been a little while. I did remember it though. And so this is one of those series that's set in the same town, it picks up different characters with each succeeding book. So I thought, okay, well, it was narrated by Kate Rudd, and I love Kate Rudd. So I thought, yeah, I'll just pick that up. That'll be a good kind of hold me over until I find something amazing again, kind of a book. So I listened to that, and it was really sweet. It was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I finished that, I want to say yesterday. So I ended up giving it 3 stars. It didn't blow me out of the water. It was kind of dramatic at the end. It was kind of like, I don't know, the kind of ending that belongs in a big book with a lot of huge things happening. So yeah, that was okay. It was fine. It was entertaining at the time, and I didn't really expect more from it than what it gave me. So I really liked it. Ended up giving it 3 stars. Okay, then I picked up book 3, which I'm currently listening to, called It Had to Be Fate, again by Tamra Bauman, again narrated by Kate Rudd. Same group of characters, different ones that we're following. This is about a rock star and a woman who runs the hotel. And, you know, same kind of thing, thoroughly enjoying it, love Kate Rudd. You know, it's probably going to be another 3-star book. And after it, I will probably pick up book 4 just because there are only 4 books currently in the series. And, you know, why not? Why not finish out the series? Especially when I'm in the town with the people, might as well. So I'll probably do that. I also have another post-apocalyptic book recommended to me by my friend Karen. I love her so much. It's called Fever. It's by Deon Meyer, and it's narrated on audio by Peter Noble and Jennifer Woodburn. I found this at my library, but I couldn't find it on audible.com. I don't know why that is, but just so you know, if you go to look for it, I don't think you're going to find it. I don't know how I got a hold of this, but anyway, it is post-apocalyptic, but it's set in South Africa, and it's one of those, a virus has, you know, killed everybody kind of books, and now we have to survive. So she said it was really good, and I trust her opinion implicitly. So I have that to listen to when I'm kind of romanced out. And then speaking of my friend Lisa from Books and Smiles, who is again in Florida, I went out to the mailbox the other day, and I pulled out a package from Amazon, and I thought, I didn't order any books from Amazon. Well, she sent me 2 books. God bless her. She's such a great friend, and I You know, I hate to always say she's such a great friend after she did something for me. She's a great friend no matter what. She is a wonderful friend that I desperately love, and I couldn't believe she did this. I was just floored. But she sent me What to Say Next by Julie Buxbaum. I loved this book. This was a 5-star book for me, and she's currently reading it, and she says to me, she and I read Puddle Jumping by Amber L. Johnson, and I said I liked it, but I didn't like it as well as this because this is told from the perspective of an autistic boy in high school, and Puddle Jumping is told from the perspective of a girl who is in love with an autistic boy in high school. So I said, I liked this better. I explained why, and then I said, I'll be interested to see what you think. She loves this. And I was trying to play her a sample of it. It's narrated from one perspective by Kirby Hayborn, and I forget who the other narrator is. I'll put it here on the screen, but she was equally amazing in the narration. Kirby Hayborn, wow. Well, you heard me rave about this book before, but anyway, she sent me this book, and when I went to play her this little snippet, I thought, now I want to listen to it all over again. So good. It's just so good. It is her newest release, and I got it as an ARC from Penguin. So yeah, anyway. And then next day I go out and there's another box in my mailbox from Amazon, and I thought, she did it again. She sent me 2 books. The other one is Second Chance Summer. It's by Morgan Matson, and it is narrated on audio by Brittany Presley. So amid the things that I plan to read in the coming week, I want to read this. I want to listen to this on audio. I like Brittany Presley a lot, and she's a good voice as a narrator for YA contemporaries where the main character is a girl. She just handles that really well. She's a good voice for that kind of a character. So, and it's summer and it's YA contemporary, so yeah, I probably will pick this up. I don't know, maybe even before I pick up Fever, the post-apocalyptic story. I'll have to see how I feel after I finish this series by Tamra Bauman, because, you know, I don't know. You get to a point where you're just done with the genre and then you're ready to kind of cleanse your palate with another one. But I don't know. I may not be done. That is my weekend and my previous week. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and let me know what you thought of them. I would love to talk with you in comments about that. If you are in Florida or Georgia or anywhere that this monstrous hurricane is coming, or if you're in the Caribbean, then please know that we are praying for you, that we know that you're going to get slammed, and it's bad. It's a big storm and it's doing a lot of damage. And so, you know, our prayers are with you. And I speak for not just me, but my husband and, you know, my family in general, people in general. I know there's going to be a whole lot of assistance needed after this, just like there was with the hurricane that just came through Texas. So yeah, let's keep those people in our thoughts and prayers. Or we've got you in our thoughts and prayers if you're in Florida. So, and I think I'm going to get really great updates because Lisa is there. And so I've been telling her, you have a plan, right? And she's like, I've been through this. Don't worry about it. So I trust her. Anyway, so let's do that and have a great weekend. It's beautiful weather here. It's beautiful skies, hardly a cloud, and warm weather. And I'm so grateful. I love it when it's that way. I just love summer. I refuse to believe that summer has come to an end. Anyway, have a great weekend, and that's it for now for me. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.